Stop. Look at this image. You see a beautiful golden planet with rings. Calm, majestic, almost mythical. Now, I'm going to tell you the truth. What you're looking at is a crime scene. It rains diamonds there. Storms larger than 10 Earths have been raging for millions of years. This planet is slowly devouring its own rings, right now, while you watch this video. And somewhere deep inside its clouds lies a secret that could forever change our understanding of whether we are alone in the universe. Saturn is the strangest, most violent, and most mysterious place in our solar system. And today, we're going to break it apart piece by piece. Let's start with the rings, 280,000 kilometers across. They look monumental, eternal. But here's what they never told you in school. In some places, those rings are only 10 meters thick. 10 meters, the height of a 3-story building. If you shrank Saturn down to the size of a basketball, its rings would be thinner than a sheet of paper. Every second, tens of thousands of kilograms of ice break away from the rings and fall into Saturn's atmosphere. Scientists call it ring rain. The planet's magnetic field is literally dragging its own rings inward. In 100 million years, they will be gone. We are living in a unique moment, while Saturn still has rings. Our distant descendants will see nothing but another bare planet. We are the last witnesses to something irreplaceable. But where did those rings come from? Subscribe right now. Every week, we explore the strangest corners of the universe in the same depth. Write in the comments what you want to see next. I read every comment. Billions of years ago, an ordinary moon orbited Saturn peacefully. Unremarkable. But it drifted too close and crossed what scientists call the Roche limit. The invisible boundary where tidal forces become stronger than the forces holding a moon together. Billions of years ago, an ordinary moon orbited Saturn peacefully. Unremarkable. But it drifted too close and crossed what scientists call the Roche limit. The invisible boundary where tidal forces become stronger than the forces holding a moon together. The planet doesn't explode you. It simply pulls slightly harder on one side, and the moon begins to stretch, crack, tear apart, slowly, without a sound. "17,000 trillion tons of ice and rock scattered across the sky. What you see when you look at Saturn's rings is not decoration. It's remains. All that's left of an entire world that no longer exists. But let's return to Saturn. Along the edges of the rings orbit tiny shepherd moons, Prometheus and Pandora. Their gravity acts like an invisible fence, keeping icy particles in place, preventing the rings from spreading apart. They are literally guarding the tomb of the moon Saturn once destroyed. And they've been doing it for billions of years. Now, the planet itself. Saturn is a gas giant with no solid surface. If you tried to land on it, you would simply keep falling. The clouds would grow denser, the pressure would rise, and eventually you would simply dissolve. There is no ground, no floor, only an endless gradient, from gas to liquid. Deep inside, hydrogen under pressures of millions of atmospheres transforms into liquid metal, and this metallic fluid is the heart of Saturn's magnetic field. This is not just a planet. It is a giant electromagnet wrapped in clouds. And deeper still, diamond rain falls. Methane in the upper atmosphere is struck by lightning, transformed into carbon, which falls downward and compresses under pressure, first into graphite, then into diamonds. Millions of carats of diamonds every second, falling toward a core no human probe has ever reached. Wealth beyond anything humanity could imagine, completely unreachable. But the strangest thing about Saturn isn't even that. Look at its North Pole. A perfect geometric hexagon sits right there, each side longer than Earth's diameter. Winds inside reach 500 kilometers per hour. And this storm has remained in the exact same place for at least 40 years. Scientists built models, ran simulations. The honest answer after decades of research, we still don't fully know. The hexagon simply stands there, perfect, silent, like the signature of a force we do not yet understand. But Saturn's greatest mystery isn't Saturn itself. Meet Enceladus, a tiny frozen world only 500 kilometers wide, just another gray moon at first glance. But in 2005, Cassini discovered something unbelievable. Gigantic geysers erupting from its south pole, vapor, ice, and organic molecules. Cassini flew directly through those geysers and found water, salt, molecular hydrogen, organic compounds, all signs of hydrothermal activity, the same conditions in which life first emerged on Earth. Beneath the frozen crust lies a liquid ocean, warmed by geothermal heat existing for billions of years. We don't know if anything lives there, but if we are searching for life beyond Earth, Enceladus is one of the best places to look. Right here, in our own solar system. And that's when Cassini enters the story. In 1997, NASA, together with the European and Italian space agencies, launched a spacecraft the size of a school bus. 7 years of travel. And in 2004, Cassini entered orbit around Saturn. 13 years, 294 orbits, 6 new moons, the ocean on Enceladus, the hexagonal storm. Data sent back day after day, year after year. Then the fuel began to run out. The engineers couldn't let the spacecraft drift. It might collide with Enceladus and contaminate it with Earth microbes, permanently ruining one of the most promising places to search for life. So they chose a beautiful ending. The grand finale, 22 final orbits, each one closer to Saturn, diving through the gap between the rings and the clouds. It tasted the atmosphere directly, sent data in real time, until the final second. On September 15, 2017, Cassini entered Saturn's atmosphere at 110,000 kilometers per hour. It ignited and became part of the very planet it had spent 13 years exploring. Inside NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, people cried, not because of failure, but because it was a perfect ending. Strangely similar to saying goodbye to a friend. Since then, we have not returned to Saturn. But there are plans. A new Enceladus orbiter mission is already in development to fly through those geysers again with better instruments and finally answer the question that has haunted scientists since 2005. Is there something alive there? Maybe in the 2030s or 2040s, we'll get the answer. And maybe it will change everything we think we know about our place in the universe. Saturn is the most beautiful object in the solar system. People look at it through a telescope for the first time and freeze. It doesn't look real. But everything we talked about today, a destroyed moon, dying rings, diamond rain, an impossible hexagon, a hidden ocean, a spacecraft that burned for science, all of it exists inside that tiny golden shape in the eyepiece. Every image of Saturn is simultaneously a graveyard, a laboratory, a mystery, and a work of art. Golden, dying, majestic, quietly drifting in the darkness, waiting for us to find the courage to return.